Hey guys, today I'm finally filming my best of beauty video for 2018. This is almost a month late. I'm trying to get caught up on my videos, but it's taking me quite some time, and unfortunately that is the reason this is not going to be a collaboration this year. Usually I film these videos in collaboration with my friend Ami from AM Beauty Life. Last year we also did it with our friend Amanda Alexander, but I'm so behind on videos we weren't able to all work out, and I didn't want to ask the girls to wait for me to post their video. So I know that Ami recently posted a current favorites, and I know that Amanda at least posted a yearly polish favorites, but I can't remember if she's done a makeup one or not. But whatever they have, I will link down below for you guys. And these are going to be all of my favorite products that I discovered this year, or maybe products that I discovered in combination with other products that I absolutely fell in love with. I will do a Holy Grail products video, but I'm thinking of waiting until more spring summer. That way there's a bit of a gap between this video and that video, because I will have some repeating products and I don't want it to seem too similar. So I will just jump right in with the face products, which are some of my absolute favorite. You guys know how much I love complexion products, and I tend to have a pretty high maintenance routine. So I do have a favorite primer of the year. This is the Dr. Brandt Pores No More Primer. Now I have tried Benefit Professional, the Makeup Forever Step 1 Smoothing Primer, the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer, and this one is the best. For me, I think this one works well for all skin types. It has a really thin consistency, yet it actually does blur your pores. It helps to fill in my forehead wrinkles. It looks so smooth. It never bunches up, pills up on my skin. Works well with all moisturizers, all other primers and foundations. This is such a phenomenal product that I highly recommend. I do not have any foundation favorites of the year. There were some things that I liked, but I didn't think there was anything that I absolutely fell in love with. But I do have a couple concealers that really shook up the game for me. The first is the ColourPop No Filter Concealer. I specifically love the shade Light 10 because this is a nice light shade and it is a very yellow tone. Unfortunately, all the shades in the fair range either lean more pink or more neutral, and this is the lightest color that is a true yellow, at least in my opinion. And I think this is a fantastic formula in general. It gives a medium buildable to full coverage, has more of a satin finish. It's awesome for blemishes and under eyes. For blemishes, I would recommend applying it, letting it set for a little bit, and then blend it out. I feel like if you blend it out right away, some of the coverage will go away as well, so that's what I would recommend. But the way that I love this most is for building up coverage on my cheeks. So I will apply one layer of my foundation all over, and then I usually have some redness peeking through. So I will just draw a couple lines on each cheek, blend it out with my sponge, and it looks absolutely perfect. I feel like this works better on top of products than it even does on its own, and it's absolutely amazing. It works so well, and I will continue to repurchase this product in this shade to use to help build up extra coverage on my cheeks, and I think it helps it not look cakey, whereas if I went in with a second layer of foundation all over, my whole face would look heavy. But this gives me extra coverage just in the areas that I need it, so it has been amazing for that. My other favorite concealer is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. This is in the shade 1N Extra Light. It says it's a neutral undertone, but I think this one actually is pretty darn yellow. This does have a nice liquidy consistency, a doe foot applicator. It smells a little bit like paint, but not as strong as MAC Studio Fix. It smells the same as the Double Wear foundation, which I've come to love the smell of. This is a full coverage concealer. It also has more of a satin finish. I had a little mini size of this in the past in a different shade that I used under my eyes, and it worked amazing for that. But this is my favorite blemish concealer. Previously, I had been using the MAC Pro Longwear in NC15. I find this to have a very similar formula, but it has better packaging. It's so easy for me to apply it on any blemishes, and it does have great coverage. It sets down nicely. This is something that I will definitely repurchase once I use it up. It is such a phenomenal formula. And then I have a bunch of powders that I had fallen in love with. The first is the Maybelline SuperStay Better Skin Powder. This is in the shade 10 Porcelain, which is the lightest color. This is amazing. So you guys know that I used to be absolutely in love with the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat powder foundation and the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless powder. Those give great coverage and they help keep me matte. But I started using this one, and you don't look like you get a lot of product, but you actually get more than you do in the Maybelline Fit Me powder. It's amazing. It gives just as much coverage, if not more, but it looks more natural and seamless on the skin. There was a time when I did use this as a powder foundation. I applied a primer and concealer, then I took this sponge and just pressed it onto my skin. It looked beautiful. So out of all of the pressed powders I've tried, this one is actually my new favorite because I get a lot of great coverage, a lot of good color, but I don't look too heavy and cakey. Unfortunately, I do think that this is being discontinued in favor of the new SuperStay full coverage powder, which is a shame. I'm going to try to find some backups of this because I love it so much. This one is new to me, and I know they've been on sale everywhere, and not all the stores have all of the shades. There are a lot of stores that don't actually sell my color to begin with, so I need to try to go around and hopefully find these on sale because it's such a phenomenal powder. And of course, like everything I love gets discontinued. And that would be the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder in the shade 5 Fair. It is a nice fair color with more of a neutral leaning warm undertone, which is fantastic. I use this to set my entire face. It does set my skin really nicely. It doesn't give me any kind of a glowy finish, but it isn't too matte and dry either, and the color is perfect for me. But I have been loving this, especially in combination with my next favorite, which I discovered this year. This is the Too Faced Peach Perfect Mattifying Loose Setting Powder. I did actually use it up completely, and I did repurchase it. So this is the best mattifying loose powder I've ever used, and it does have a nice peach scent, which I love, but unfortunately it also has a peach tint. So this tends to oxidize my makeup and then it looks too dark. So I will mix even parts of the Too Faced and the Maybelline into another little container, set my face with that, and it's amazing. This is such a finely milled powder, and this one is a little thicker, but they mix well together and I get the most perfect shade, and it mattifies me so well. So I have not used either of these powders separately or in combination under my eyes, but I've used them both to set my face, and I think it's amazing. So this is a holy grail powder of mine. Next, I have another powder that I didn't expect to fall in love with, but I totally did, and I did just recently use this up. A little spoiler for my project pan. This is the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder, and this is Too Faced line that's better for dry skin, whereas the Peach Perfect line is better for more oily skin types. My friend Jean gave this to me over the summer, and I've been using it over the past couple months. This is so good. So this does not make me look matte, it does not make me look dry, but it sets my skin so nicely. And this one does have more of a yellow tint to it, while this one has a peach tint, so I can use this one on its own, and I think it looks really nice. You just need a small amount of this to set your face. It doesn't gunk up my sponge. I think it looks absolutely beautiful on the skin. A great powder for me for fall and winter, so I do think I will end up repurchasing this as well. I just think Too Faced makes some amazing powders. Next, I have a couple blushes that I discovered this year and fell in love with. The first is from IT Cosmetics. This is their CC Radiance Ombre blush in the shade Je ne sais quoi. So it's a really beautiful warm pink. It is more of a satin finish, looks stunning on the cheeks. I was loving that one in the spring. Next was a limited edition blush that my friend Jean gifted me. This is the Too Faced Love Flush blush in the shade Funfetti. So you do have that like birthday cake looking speckling here, which is so cute. And this is a warm pink or a pinky tone peach blush. Looks stunning on the skin. I absolutely love this color, and it was my first time trying that formula as well. Then this next blush is the Tarte Amazonian Clay in the shade Captivating, which is a beautiful, bright, yet somewhat like a pinch of burnt or a pinch of muted peach, and it is stunning. This is always a blush that I had wanted, and I think this was part of the Tarte Aqua Lilies palette, which was one of their first disc palettes years ago. I'd always been interested in this color, then they added it to their permanent line, and I'm so glad that I picked this up. Even though this blush formula is not my favorite, I would just say don't swatch these, because it seems like as soon as the oils from your fingers touch this powder, it gets hard pan, it dries out. So I definitely have to work more of a dense blush brush in here, but it looks beautiful on the skin. I love this color, and once you get it on, it looks nice. And I've made sure not to swatch this one because I don't want to mess it up, but it's such a pretty shade. Then we have a highlighter favorite, and you guys know I'm not really that crazy about highlighters. The Balm Berry Luminizer is my all-time favorite. If I could only keep one highlighter, I would keep that one. But since I discovered this one, I now have two must-have highlights. And this is the Anastasia Amrezy highlighter. This came out spring, summer, and then they did just recently re-release it. I'm not sure if they released like another stock of them or if it's going to be a permanent product, but I wish and I hope that it will be permanent. This is an amazing gold highlight, but it is a lot more on the pale side, so it is the only gold highlight that will actually work for my fair skin tone. And of course, it's something I use in the summer when I have a little bit of color, but it has such a nice metallic sheen to it. It applies so easily. This is a phenomenal highlighter, and I'm so happy to have it in my collection. This does have more of like a baked jelly formula, so I do have to like run my brush back and forth. I'm not necessarily digging in, but you can't just swipe one across. You have to like back and forth to really pick it up on a brush, but it looks amazing. Next, I have all of my eye favorites, and I don't have a ton of things here, but I absolutely love all the things that I'll be mentioning. The first one I will have to insert a picture of because I have used it up completely. This was the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in Just for Fun. It was a metallic finish. Unfortunately, this was a limited edition color, or else I would have been all over this one. It was like a champagne-y pink. It wasn't more of like a peachy pink. It had a little bit more cool tones in it. It was very brightening on the lid. It made my eyes look very bright and awake. And I paired it with some pastel liners I'm going to mention in a minute, and I absolutely loved it. I really enjoyed panning this in the spring, and if they ever re-release the shade, I'll definitely buy two of them because I loved it so much. And my next ColourPop Super Shock Shadow has been around for forever, but I had really just tried it out this year, and I mentioned it in a favorites video in both the summer and the fall. This is the shade Kathleen Lights. It's a beautiful like golden orangey copper color. It has a pearlized finish, which is my favorite because it's so intensely metallic, but it doesn't have any chunky glitter particles in it. I think I might want to pan this one in 2019. I love it so much, and I'll probably repurchase it. It just is so beautiful and also really brightening on the lid. Definitely would recommend that one. And you guys know how much I love Super Shocks in general, and I've also been able to pan quite a few this year. You will see a video on all of the makeup I used up in 2018 coming up soon. Then I have a couple palettes that I really enjoyed, and I do have review videos on all of these, so I will have all of those videos linked in the cards for you. The first one is the Alamar Cosmetics Reina del Caribe Volume 1. The colors are so amazing. They worked so well, and I love all the different kind of looks I was able to create with this. This was also the very first time I ever experimented with a cut crease, and it made these shadows even more amazing. This one right here is definitely the star of the show and the most unique. Highly recommend this palette. It's so good. My second palette favorite might be a surprise. This is the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Bling Boss palette, and I actually am not the biggest fan of all the Morphe shadows I've tried in the past, but I thought this one worked really well. I was very impressed with the way that the shade showed up on my eye, and I also absolutely fell in love with a purple look and a red look I created. I love the fact that it's this little mini palette. You can come up with several different looks, and I'm really impressed by this one, so I would definitely recommend it. I didn't try any of the other palettes from the Vault collection. This is the only one I chose, but it's the good one. This is the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. This has been out forever, but I just tested it this year. I do have some of her mini Obsession palettes, and they're okay for me, but this one was amazing. The mattes were very pigmented and easy to blend out, and the shimmers were absolutely stunning. I love several of the looks I created with this palette, and I'm so happy to have this in my collection. Then I have a couple of different liners I was loving. I think I had the most fun with my makeup this spring, because I have some spring shadows and liners and lippies and polishes I'll be mentioning. So my favorite liners, I've enjoyed these, but because I panned them this year, I used them so much more, and I realized how amazing they are. These are the ColourPop Creme Gel Liners. They would be their pencil liners, and the shade Prance, which is a periwinkle blue, and Zulu, which is more of a minty shade. And they did discontinue these colors, then they did bring them back. Originally, they just brought back Prance, but they just released a bundle with the Mar palette and both of these liners, and I got so excited. But then I went to see if they were selling Zulu individually, and they are now, but it's sold out. These liners are amazing. So these are a nice twist up liner. I will say that they do usually break off from the base, which is annoying, but it's not impossible to work with. Basically, I would recommend just twisting up a little bit at a time and applying it, because this is more of a dry, thicker formula. So these liners do not work well on the upper lash line. They're just gonna tug too much, and because our lid skin is more loose, it's gonna look a little choppy. But on the lower lash line and on the waterline, it applies so smoothly, and it's very pigmented and very long lasting. Pastel products in general, we know, especially like eyeshadows, liner, they just don't show up well. But these are so pigmented and so opaque. I have very, very watery eyes, and these lasted a very long time for me in the waterline. Absolute holy grails. I'm gonna pray to God that they will make both of these permanent. They will keep them around. I definitely want to try more colors from this formula. The gel liners in the pots suck, but these are so good. As I said, specifically for the waterline and the lower lash line, highly recommend these colors in particular, but I do enjoy the formula. Then a new product I had tested out was the Clinique Pretty Easy Liquid Lining Pen. This is just the black shade, and this is a brush tip liquid liner. This is amazing. It was nice matte black. It was very pigmented, super easy to line my eyes to create a wing, and it did last me a really long time. And this is actually just like a little actual sample size. Sometimes Clinique sells products in slightly different packaging, but it's basically a full size. So you had a ton of product in here for it being a sample, but I absolutely love this. And I do find that this is just as good as the Physicians Formula Eye Boost Liquid Liner, which can really cost the same as this one, or just about, if you buy the Physicians Formula full price. So I recommend waiting until you can get it for 40% off. I think they work just as well, so I'm going to continue to buy the Physicians Formula over this one. But if you're interested in trying a high-end liquid liner, this is the best one I've tried. I think that this is way better than the Kat Von D Tattoo Liner. Definitely better than the SuperStay All Day liquid liner. Highly recommend this one. So then for lip products, I only have 3 favorites, which shows me I really need to stop buying lip products because I'm not falling in love with them. And the first one I have here is a little mini I had put in a project pan. This is the Tarte's Glossy Lip Paint in the shade Obvi, which is a peachy nude color. And I loved this. So this has more of a thicker consistency. It's very plush. It doesn't feel sticky. It doesn't feel heavy. And this has more of a medium opacity, which I love. It reminds me of the Anastasia lip glosses, but those are very thick and very opaque. And for me, a little too much. So this is the perfect middle ground. Also, all the shades in this range are more of a nude shade, and I absolutely love the shade Obvi, and I want to get one of the other colors as well. Over the summer, I think these were part of a Sephora Weekly Wow, but I can never buy both shades at once. One of them always was out of stock, and I wish I would have just placed separate orders and gotten them individually. That's a shame. I was really hoping this would be part of the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty this past time, and it wasn't. I'll cross my fingers that maybe they will be next time. I will buy these eventually. I was really impressed with this formula, and the color is absolutely beautiful. Then there were 2 products I really loved in the springtime. The first is the Dose of Colors Liquid Lipstick, which is one of my favorite liquid lipstick formulas. It is like a thin and moussey texture. It does set completely, so it will be a little bit drying, but they have such beautiful shades in their range. And the color I was loving would be the shade Rosebud, which is a light, cool tone pastel-y pink. I really like these kind of shades on my skin tone, and it wasn't too bright, so I think it ended up being pretty wearable, so definitely recommend that. And then I had been using one of the Urban Decay Vice lipsticks. This one is in the shade Criminal. It's a matte finish, and this is a light, warm tone pink color. Such a very creamy, comfortable formula. Definitely recommend the formula in general, and I thought this shade was very beautiful, and I'm excited to wear both of those more this upcoming spring. And lastly, we have some nail polish favorites. I have 3 from 90 Lacquer, which is a brand that was created by Just Face 90, who has an amazing YouTube and Instagram account for polishes, and she makes them all by hand in her house, which I think is amazing because these are all so cool and unique. So if you're looking to try some indie polishes, none of these polishes have ever failed me. They're all so unique and cool and have amazing formulas. So I've tried several of her shades this year, but these are my 3 favorites. So this is Cottontail, which you cannot tell in the bottle how cool it is like you can on the nails. So it is like a you can see it more up around the lip. It's like a really beautiful like pinky gold color. The base is looking so gold here, but that's like the more accurate color. It is so beautiful on the nails. Then we have this stunning blue called Robin's Egg. So it is that blue base, but then you do have some larger pink glitters, and then you do have some small gold and small holographic glitters in there. It looks so beautiful. Then the last color is Igneo Pebblet, which is like a copper base with some golden reflex in it. It looks so stunning on the nails. Then I have 5 polishes that were new to me from KL Polish, which is the brand created by Kathleen Lights. I think her polishes are all amazing as well. I've never been disappointed by any of them. So I have got a couple cream polishes and a few metallics. So the cream polishes I have would be Peanut Butter, which does look like peanut butter on your nails. There's like a teensy bit of mustard in there. Like if you're afraid of Caramello and feel like that one's too mustardy for you, I think this would be a really good middle ground, or like dipping your toes into more mustardy colors. Then I have Taurus, which is a very warm tone brown. I don't have any brown polishes really, and I thought this one looked so beautiful and I absolutely loved it. Then we have a polish I've been wanting forever, and it finally restocked during a sale when I was able to pick it up. This is the shade Chloe, which is the perfect olive green. I've had another olive in the past, but it was more of like a cool tone, and this is a beautiful warm tone olive cream, the most perfect olive that you could ever have. Then I've got 2 more metallic polishes from KL Polish. This first one is called Medusa. It's like a peridot color, so it's green, but it's gold, and you can see here in like the edges of the bottle that it has this really pretty like teal blue color as well. It's very multi-dimensional and a really unique color that looks really just as cool on the nails as it does in the bottle, which is not always the case. And then the last one is called Princess Penny, which looks like a liquid foiled copper. It is stunning. And as I said, all of these have an amazing formula, so I would recommend all of them. And the last product is something people have raving about for years, but I just tried it out. This is the Seche Vite Quick Dry Top Coat. At first I did not like this, but that's because I wasn't sure of how to use it. So basically you do your base coat, first coat of polish, let that dry, your second coat of polish, and then I'll wait like a minute or 2 and then I'll apply this. Usually I wait about 10 minutes between my coats, but the first time I used it, I had let it completely dry. My second coat, I went to apply this on top and it was very patchy and gloopy and looked gross. But then I learned from all of you amazing gals and guys that I have to put it on almost immediately after my second coat because it is a quick dry, so it will shrink your polish and make it look weird. But I just painted my nails last night. They're looking super fresh, very glossy. This does shrink my polish a bit, but really almost every single quick dry top coat I've used does shrink the polish a teensy bit, but it basically just looks like I have tip wear, and it does keep my polishes from peeling and cracking. So I definitely do recommend this. I think it's a really good product and I will repurchase it once I use it up. So guys, those are all of my favorite products that I discovered this year. I would love to know what your favorite products were in the comments down below, and I would love to know what you guys think about the products I mentioned here today. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.